Thank you for tuning into The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I'd like to send you a warm welcome. Here I talk about issues that happen within the black community, hopefully for some resolution or at least some food for thought to go about your daily way. So without further ado, I'd like to jump into this episode's topic, which is why improper black masculinity doesn't benefit the black race. So I want to start off with two short stories, okay? So the first one is earlier today I was in the gym, and usually it's kind of like an atmosphere of primarily white people, okay? So it's calm, everyone's getting their workout in. There may be a high or a buy here and there, very little conversation, peaceful atmosphere, okay? But today it was a little different. It was the demographic had kind of changed. It was primarily black men in there, and there were a few white people, but it was a little different today. So I'm trying to concentrate on this workout. There's like a few black guys. They're very loud. In the gym room, so that's different, and it caused a lot of the white people to leave. Some of them stayed around, but a lot of them left, and then they became too close, so they're walking in close proximity to to some females that's trying to work out, even including myself. I felt a little uncomfortable, not because they were black, but because they were walking a little too close while I'm trying to get my workout in, and there was plenty of spaces, other places where they could go in the gym room, in the weight room. And then there was a white lady and myself, trying to get some calisthenics in, and this black guy comes to lay right between us. It was really weird, just uncomfortable. It was just a totally different atmosphere than what is usually in this particular gym. Okay, so my thing is, and then let's talk about the second scenario. So the second scenario, I'm at work. There's a woman. She's talking about this shooting that just happened at a children's like emporium or someplace where children hang out. Okay, so it was some black men that had a shootout inside of the building, and you're like, well, why are you bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because why does black masculinity represent things that are negative in our community? Because let's go back to the gym situation. Those black guys probably thought they were being masculine, right? They're loud, they're aggressive in the gym room. They're invoking fear, feelings of uncomfortable feelings in the women around because they're coming too close, and all these things that they're doing. So these are ways within the black community in general that we're having problems with the black man. And I'm going to make a small disclaimer right here. This does not apply to every black man, okay? But let's not act like we don't have a problem within our community. And I would like to discuss some ways that black masculinity hasn't benefited our race as a people, okay? So I want to start off with number one, okay? Number one, black men are known to point out the flaws of black women, but rarely have any tangible solutions, okay? So they're pointing out the things, okay? Like, for example, if black men want their children taught better, okay? So you hear a lot about, black men saying, hey, our children are doing so bad because they're raised by single mothers. The black children are such failures because of single motherhood. So you hear a lot of that going on, okay? But if the black man, okay, were to cultivate an environment where their children's mother or wife can have the time and resources to do so, okay, to teach the black children. Okay, so instead of black men just sitting around talking about and pointing the finger at, oh my goodness, my kids are failing, this is the slave mentality that the black man continues to linger on. I say slave mentality because it's an inferior boy mentality for a grown man, a group of grown men to sit and talk about the condition of their women and their children and have no solution to it. They have no plan, but you're sitting talking for hours about the black woman, how downtrodden she is, but you have no solution as a man to pick your own women up. I mean, this is part of the problem in our community. Also, if black women act too masculine, okay, provide a place and an atmosphere where they can be feminine. Okay, instead of trickery and abuse to manipulate black women into submissive roles. Like I said once again, I was in the gym and it was just a totally different atmosphere. It kind of felt like the hood. Inside the gym room, and this is just the atmosphere that these black men brought along with them, and I guess they called themselves being masculine, but in those type of situations, I mean, a lot of the people left. But I come from the hood myself, so I'm like, okay, as long as they don't pull out any guns. But that's sad that I had to even have these type of thoughts, and it makes women abrasive. When men period are not being gentlemen, okay, and they're doing weird things, okay, and so like I said, instead of the trickery and abuse, to manipulate black women into submissive roles, actually educate yourself as men and make sure black boys know the value of education, okay? So instead of having to lie about who you are, instead of having to say what you think a woman wants to hear, instead of pretending like you're something that you're not, just to get a woman that you feel act like she's all that, but she's not acting like she may have put herself educational wise. And it's not about hating black women for being educated, it's about going to accumulate that education yourself, so you don't have to lie, you don't have to trick, you don't have to abuse a woman into roles that she should naturally fall into if a man's in his natural position. um Also, how can black men call themselves men by continuing to talk about the discrepancies within the black woman but have no action to solve it? Okay, I said that before, it's very deep, and I think, black men are coming to a place now where they're saying, I want respect from black women. Why are black women not respecting us? Well, it's hard to hear, a man keep saying what's wrong, but he offers no solution, no resolution. And this is what, from many black women we're hearing. We're hearing their problems, but yet the black man doesn't have any solutions. Okay, and then a lot of black men, quite frankly, are feeling like they don't have to have any solutions to help the black woman or the black child, but then they still want this type of respect, and that's just not reality. Also, number two, more than 85% of the reason that the black communities don't feel safe is due to the behavior of black males. Okay, this is a tough one. I mean, more than 85%. Okay, black males have open gunplay around women and children around the neighborhoods, on the street corners, where children play at playgrounds. So the black woman is supposed to have a sense of security when she sees a group of black men around, but it's the opposite. I mean, every other race of woman typically, I'm not saying all the time, feels this way. When white women see their white men around, they know there's going to be some type of form of security, but it's the opposite. And the black man is taught the opposite. And black women feel the opposite around a group of black men. That there's something going to jump off. What drama is going to happen? And it shouldn't be that way. The aggressive behavior that results to meaningless violence. When you usually see a group of black men, especially in the urban areas, this is aggressive way that they behave that they call masculinity. I'm talking about ways that black masculinity, improper black masculinity, it hurts and cripples the black community, because, like I said, usually when where they're in groups, something's about to jump off. Okay, and they shouldn't get violent against each other as black men. They should actually, only time they should really be violent is to protect black women and children. I think that's something else that's kind of the opposite. We spend a lot of time, and I've even did some episodes about black women, how they hurt the black community with their behavior, but also with the black man. The black man has also been conditioned to be masculine in ways that doesn't benefit the black community. And not only does it not benefit the black community, but it cripples the black community. And this is one of the ways how it does. Like, how are you killing yourselves and you're being violent against your own women and children in your own black communities, but you're not going to be violent in situations where you have to protect your own black women and children? So then you tense up and you get fearful. Then I find that in today's modern black men, they're very timid when it comes to doing the right thing and being militant in the right situations, but then they're so comfortable with killing each other. Also, I guess once again, I want to say too, random acts of violence that further destroys the black population, which in retrospect creates an atmosphere of anxiety and fear within the streets in the urban areas. That's something, like I said, that's so deep that we as black people, we shouldn't have to move to a primarily white neighborhood just to feel some sense of peace and safety. And I think that's where it works reverse with other races of people. We're the only race of people that have to live primarily amongst other people, such to a heavy magnitude that we do just to feel safe, when other races of people, they feel safer around their own people, and they feel a little off guard when other outsiders come in. But as black people, we're the opposite. We feel very uncomfortable being around each other, okay? And not just always because we're being paranoid, but there's like violence, like I said, a sense of fear in the atmosphere within the urban communities because of our actions, and because of, like I said, the black man, because of your actions in the black communities, okay? Due to the fact that the black man's masculinity doesn't create within his living spaces. Let me repeat that. Due to the fact that the black man's masculinity doesn't create anything within his living spaces, but it is taught to be destructive. Okay, so, by the black man being, the son of man, once the master of being creative, now he's not creating anything within his communities. And not only is he not creating, he's destroying. Why? Because he has a destructive mind. The black man's been taught to hate himself, hate where he lives at, hate his women and children, and that really manifests itself out within our communities. I'm not saying that the black woman doesn't have any part to play in this, but I'm saying, though, when you walk out on the streets, when you walk out to the store in the urban communities, you gotta be tough, you gotta be rough because of the situations that's going on, and it shouldn't be that way. Number three, black men need to actively put together a strategy that helps put an end to black child poverty and single motherhood. Okay, like I said, this is the black man is the only race of men that I can think of. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the black man is the only race of man that sits and he talks and talks and talks about the black woman, the troubles that black children are going to, but yet he's not doing anything about it. I don't hear any black men coming together in groups saying, "Hey, how are we going to gain back control of black families, and how are we going to help black children?" I hear a lot of conversations of black men grouping together about how they hate black women, about how black women are this, black women are that, and a lot of it may be true, but I don't hear any talks or group discussions on black men being leaders saying, how are we going to regain control and make things right, and set some type of boundaries and things for our children. Okay, like I said, but what isn't masculine is a grown black man pointing out the issues at hand, yet once again having no plan to help solve the issues. For example, black kids are messed up without fathers, yet where are black men discussing ways to choose proper mates to live with in their own families? Also, black women are growing up promiscuous. Yet when are black men going to stop hating black women long enough to have even an ounce of self-respect to even protect their own daughters? What I find the most different about the black man in contrast to any other race of man is that the black man can talk about what he doesn't like, yet you hardly hear black men making constructive ideas to regain or take back their black families, or how to create income for their own communities. Is it not true that a true man can solve his own problems? Okay. Number four, many black men feel masculine after doing time in jail or after killing another black man. Has the black man ever thought that as his manhood is always determined by how many years or how much time he has served in prison, while other races of men's manhood is determined by how much land they own, how much education they've acquired, or how many years it took for them to raise their family? I mean, has the black man ever thought about that? Why is it stereotypically programmed for the black man to feel like, he's only masculine when he sells his first bag of drugs, when he commits his first crime and gets his first, his first record, and black men are talking back and forth to each other, especially in the urban communities, about, oh man, you're not a man yet until you've got your first jail time, until you did your first 5 years. But other races of men don't see that. As a whole, stereotypically, it's about, what you can do, what land, or what ordinances, what laws, what clergymen, what are you doing, to help control your environment and your atmosphere. But black men is the opposite. Also, and once again, because of the brainwashed theories and the misconception of black masculinity, the black man robs himself out of the family, the freedom, the health, and wealth that he could obtain. Okay, because of the mentality and the misconception of his masculinity. So the black man feels like he has to go do all these things that have nothing to do with being masculine. Okay, due to the fact that the black woman's femininity is usually reduced to sex and destroying the psyche of the black child. So, we talked about that quite a bit. So we've talked about, the black woman's femininity is reduced to only basically her sex and destroying the psyche of the black child. And the black man has been taught masculinity in ways that not only destroy himself, but the whole black community. Okay, number 5, black men have difficulty in regulating themselves, which is part of the reason we are far from having our own nation. The black man has no structure, no discipline, and a lack of desire to educate themselves on books, math, business management, law, and social studies. That's another thing, the black man, must learn how to regulate his own brothers, how to keep his own brothers in line. If we talk about the tribe of Judah and how we're supposed to belong, to these 12 tribes, and we're supposed to belong, you guys are a tribe. You guys are brethren. And why can't you learn that when your brother steps out of line to check your brother? Like I said, there shouldn't be women getting raped, black women getting raped on trains or outside, and you hate black women so much that you say, hey, she wants to be masculine anyway, let her get raped. This is the psychology that's been infused in the black race to the black man that justifies the black man and not protecting his black women, and causing the backlash of hatred and disrespect of the black man from black women. And it has to stop somewhere. Like I said, black men say that they don't want cops coming in or different races of people. It shouldn't be a problem only when a white cop shoots a black man. It should be a bigger problem why black men feel so compelled to kill each other. If you don't want other races of men coming in and treating you like a boy, treating you like you're inferior, holding your hand and walking you across the street, why can't you control your own communities? How come you can't control your own destiny? How come you can't control your own households and things of that nature? Once the black man begins to learn how to have the discipline, the self-control, and to have a thirst for knowledge for other than things that are going to destroy them, like drug dealing, like only rap lyrics and songs, and having sex and having fatherless children. Once the black man transitions to how am I going to create constructive families that's going to last, my name's going to last through these families for hundreds and thousands of years, to be able to create these type of environments, then what really can we say about black masculinity? Other than the black man just claiming that black women hate black masculinity, what can black men show about their masculinity that's going to help themselves, the black community, and black women? That pretty much concludes this segment. I just want to thank everyone for listening. I love all my brothers and sisters out there. If you're listening out there in YouTube land, let me know what you think. Does improper black masculinity ruin the black community? And how can black masculinity be positives in ways that can protect the black community and uplift the black community? Also, if you like what you heard, you can subscribe. You can hit the share or like button. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, or you'd like to leave a financial contribution, you can at thetruthwithtrinity.com. You can also listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with Trinity. Till next time, take care.